Hello and welcome to the Mind Over Mike podcast. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're a fan of today's guest, then I know you're going to enjoy this episode. Today I sit down with a longtime friend and fellow comedian to discuss a wide variety of topics. I will say we had the drinks flowing during this one, so about halfway through, the conversation totally switches pace. We cut out some juicy parts that will be available on a future Patreon, maybe, but it was very fun to record. Pruett is one of my favorite human beings in the whole wide world, and it was cool to sit down and recap a recent show that we had at a wrestling arena called NetPro Studios in Kingsport. So there's a lot of talk about that show and some of the behind-the-scenes fun from a huge production that we had just wrapped a few days before we recorded the episode. Pruett and I also talk about family and life and positive voices in your life, as well as depending on people you love, like his mom or his wife or my girlfriend. We really related to each other a lot, as we always do, and I think this was a fun episode with a little stand-up inside baseball talk and a lot about family and life. So there's a lot to enjoy here. Please enjoy this episode with my good buddy, Jon Pruett. Well, this was different than any fucking comedy show I know of.
Oh, for sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
like, I think Sam Talent does at his fest at Black Diamond, I think it's called, Big Diamond, Black Diamond, in, like, Alabama or something. They do a wrestling show.
Yeah.
And it's in the ring. So I know it's been done, but as far as Don't Tell's concerned, I don't think
I think this is another first, man.
I think it's another first, yeah.
Yeah.
So we do a thing with Don't Tell where you can submit a photo, which I rarely do. You can submit a photo for like show of the week or something, and I put it through via email. So we'll see if it gets the only thing that happens is it gets featured in the weekly producer newsletter. Yeah. But it'd still be cool to be like, we made it. You know, of 200 plus cities, we had the coolest one on Saturday. Right. I think so. I mean, even if they don't pick it, I think so. It was cool. It was not as much of a producer's nightmare as The Cave, too. I will say. I'm sure. Like NetPro, shout out to NetPro Studios where we had the event in Kingsport, Tennessee. Dan was wonderful to work with.
Oh yeah, such a cool dude.
Such a great guy. And he loved the turnout, loved the show, loved the product, loved the comedians. He even texted me, we talked back and forth before and after the show about content and do we censor and all these things, and to his credit from the jump, he was like, I trust you. He's like, whatever you want to do, let's do it. Whatever you think would be the best show. And I mean, I think the lineup we put together was pretty fucking tight.
And you actually talked about this to Ryan Cox.
Yeah.
I just watched.
I was about to say that was today. Yeah,
that dropped today. And when you said that it was going to be all gas, no brakes with that lineup,
That was right. So Hunter came out and did about 4 laps around the ring.
Yeah.
And then
spent about a minute and a half dying.
Breathing. Just breathing into the mic. Which was killing me.
Oh, yeah.
And killing the crowd. I mean, it was crushing. And the longer he pushed it, he could have done that for 10 minutes. You know, it was crushing. It was a lot of fun, and I've gotten a little feedback from like people who were in the crowd. You know, some of my cousin on my dad's side actually came and saw me do stand up for the first time ever, and he's kind of like, when I was like 13, 14, living in Virginia Beach as a kid, he was like 20, 21, so he was like the cool older cousin that I was like, he's the man. So he got to see me and he loved it, you know, that was cool. And then I got some feedback from obviously the venue and the comics. It seems like everybody but me managed to have a really great time.
Well, I mean, like you have, that's the suck. Like you had talked about a good host.
Yeah.
You know, and that's one of the things about a good host is you can't get shithoused and shoot the breeze with the comics.
No, I can't do
you've got to be on.
Yeah.
Waiting for everybody's set to end, be able to remember who you're introducing, what, you know, anything that they want in their introduction, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, like, that's just for the host. Yeah. You are the producer and you have, oh, this venue has to like me. The comics have to do well. Oh, I've got to remember to pay these fuckers. You know, just like
I also have to do stand up.
Yeah, and then you have to, and then you're doing a set, so you've got to keep that in your head somewhere. And
usually about the time they say my name, that's when I'm like, fuck.
Well, yeah,
I gotta do stand up.
But like, just when I saw you, you were very. Like,
stressed.
I expected you to be fully gray in the beard by the time that show was over.
I will say, I knew about the show for a while, like even before anyone else did. Hailey and I went and toured the venue. I have to look because I took a picture of the ring. I'm thinking like maybe December 1st.
It was November.
No, late November, early. Yeah, it was like
as soon as you
months.
Yeah, because as soon as you eat, like I don't. Like ink that deal, I guess. As soon as that was, we're doing this.
Yeah.
I got a message, and I was.
It was like, the picture of the yeah. So like late November, because I think that's right, because I had just crashed my car on like the 21st.
Yep.
And so that's when I started rearranging my house. We were just talking before the episode. I have a whole new apartment since the last time Pruett was here because I got really depressed and pulled a Candace Hutchins, pulled a little mom out of me, and just started fucking painting walls and moving shit. And we made it through. But anyway, so that was November, and then so for like 2-3 months, I kind of knew by myself, and then I told you all. Well, I told everybody on the lineup about a month out and was like, keep it discreet, but also share the link, and then as it got closer, word got out, and then eventually we just announced it. But so that whole time I'm pretty nervous, and really like morning of the show, I was pretty sick. Like I woke up at Hailey's and was like, oh my God, it's today. Yeah. Like we're doing it.
Yeah. Here it is,
I will say something shifted though, and I don't know exactly when.
I think when you started seeing some numbers.
Relieved a lot for sure. Yeah, when I realized, we're doing the show, because I was very nervous about going to Kingsport and I was nervous about the venue, but eventually, God bless America, it fucking kicked in and saved us, and so we did the show. Obviously, I think on the Ryan Cox episode when I was editing it, I bet I said the number 300 people 50 times, which I will promise you I'll never name the amount of people again. That's Ricky move. But more than that, I kind of felt like I could speak it into existence a little bit, so I'm not ashamed of it. If you're listening to this now, we didn't hit 300. No. We had about 115 in the room, not including comics and the plus ones and stuff. So some 120-ish, some in there. But we did it very smart. I thought I worked with the venue to do a section, and then once that filled up, we added the section right next to it, and then we basically just built up to end the round. Yeah, so we were about halfway.
Yeah, and like, no matter how you look at it, as far as like the video and the pictures, it still looks packed.
Yeah, well, we made a point to frame it that way, and right, and but, also, I mean, 100 and I think official tickets was like 100. On the dot, but we had a bunch of comp tickets, and then you very generously had some as well in the system and stuff, and people were helping out. So I mean, all in all, I think we probably had our most ever. I do know that we had 112 sold for the Mark Norman show last April at the thing. So it's right on the. I mean, it's within a few bodies of being our biggest show as far as crowd, but as far as production, it's fucking massive.
And to be the venue that it is. And we talked about this a little bit before we hit record, but when you're doing something in that kind of venue, and then there's something else in that world, right, going on, that's way bigger,
right? There was a big wrestling event on TV that night.
Like there was Elimination Chamber and stuff.
Which, had I known, I may have accounted for, but I couldn't have possibly known.
Well, yeah, I mean, and
that's probably the reason that the venue didn't already have a wrestling match of their own on that day.
That's very true. Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah,
but at the same time, they still had people of their following show up.
Quite a few.
And your Don't Tell people are pretty goddamn loyal.
Yeah, they are. They'll follow me to the ends of the earth. I mean, they've followed me 90 feet underground and fucking. And I do want to say, I talk about them all the time off mic. I don't know if I've ever said this on the show, but I'm not sure if they listen to the show or not. But the Greers is a couple. I love them. Eric and Anya Greer. They have come to. I believe about 16 don't tells.
Yeah, I was about to say I
of
think
the
it's
last 20.
Yeah,
they're fucking there all the time, and they've heard me go up a billion times. They've heard you and Travis and everybody that's on often. They've heard, and they laugh like it's the first time they're there, and they talk to me every time, and they even they've done some very kind things for me outside of Don't Tell when I see them in public and stuff. They're just the best people, and so for this show I comped them seats and was like, you guys need to come and just be there.
Yeah.
And they did, and they loved it, and he texted me after. I mean, just the support that we've gotten from comics and from crowd members and from, like you said, like loyal followers, first timers. There was a lot of first timers there. That made it all very worth it.
Oh, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
You know, finances aside, that it was
well,
worth
I mean,
it.
like in a production like that, in a first time for that venue especially, and I mean for that realm in general, and to break open into that with what you had, it's a good place to start. I'll take that.
It's a good place to start. I'll take it. And I've said, about the Norman show a lot, like last April. I think as a production, that was about as close to perfect as I'll ever get. I don't necessarily think that Saturday tops it as far as perfectness, just because in the old one, we had my setting, my speakers, my lighting, like full control. With this one, we kind of worked with the venue with what they had, but they were very accommodating to us, and I think he was so impressed. I wouldn't be shocked if the next one's even better as far as production goes.
Yeah,
because he's ready for us now.
Right, and also like when you work with the venue and using their equipment and that kind of thing, you can't put your, I hate to say signature sound on it, but it's true. It's
well, it's less control. So if something goes wrong, I don't really know how to fix it because it's their system. It was also there's a lot of like logistical components, it turns out, to doing a wrestling arena. Yeah. One thing I had thought about a lot, but probably never really discussed on the show, is the idea of like having a host or shotgunning the lineup, which we wound up doing, which I think was the best move.
It worked out really well.
Passing off the microphone, it was a wireless microphone. Batteries die, who knows? Nothing did, thank God, knock on wood. But like, there's a lot of possibilities that kept me a little stressed. And you were talking too about like, all of you guys were kind of in the ring after having a great time, which I'm so glad. And I think most people would feel a little like FOMO. A little like fear of missing out, like sitting literally on the sideline. I was at a table not selling merch and watching you all like goof around in the ring. And there was a part of me that was like, damn, I wish I was in there with them. But then maybe this is just a me thing. There was a much bigger part of me that's like, I'm the reason they're able to do that.
Yeah.
And that meant so much to me to be like, and I think for the last 3 months, getting in that car wreck and having all this different issues in stand-up, it's kind of held me back. I've just kind of accepted that like my biggest contribution to stand-up right now is producing. I don't love that. I'm a comic.
Right.
I want that to be my biggest, obviously. But for now, it's just producing great shows.
Well, also,
and I can do it. I do know that.
You give out a really good, you provide a really good product.
Yeah.
However, I can also tell you that because you make a good product and enough people have seen you do that good product, you're also doing stand-up in places I'm not in.
Well, yeah.
A lot of comics that like you're in what, year 4?
4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many year 4 comics are traveling as often as you for comedy?
It's the Don't Tell thing, man. Like
maybe
people want to get paid,
right? But at the same time, what I'm saying is you've delivered a good product, and you're like you want to be a stand-up. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
but that delivering that good product as a producer is getting you spots as a stand-up.
It is, and I don't. I think a lot of comics. Well, the correct move and I was just talking with Chris Tester, who also, shout out to my friend Chris Tester, who's also at the show, just to hang out and support. Yep. And that meant the world to me. I was so glad he was there. Text him after, he didn't have a spot on the show. He just came to support and see production at the highest possible fucking level. That's great. He needs that. He's a few months in, had I got that opportunity at his age, I definitely would have took it. So I'm glad that he did. But I was just having a conversation with him about while I do think I want to be a stand-up, obviously, and producing is maybe my biggest contribution right now, I also feel pretty strongly that I'm a pretty decent... I think I'm a better producer than a comic, to be honest with you. And so there's not a lot of comics that could say that.
Oh, absolutely.
And not a lot of people produce very well. So if I have to, I'll do it.
And so you have a college degree in basically editing.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So yeah, you better be a good producer because how much of your life did you just spend?
Oh my God.
And like we talked about this the last time I was on, how you can spend hours editing this podcast.
Mm-hmm. Hey, sorry for the interruption. Just want to tell you about a couple quick shows I have coming up in the near future. On Friday, the 20th of March, I'm going to be down in Knoxville, Tennessee for the first time in a while, doing a show for Yellow Door Media. Very excited to get back down there. Then on the following Saturday, the 28th of March, we've got our next Don't Tell Tri-City show with an amazing headliner all the way back from Atlanta. Very excited to have her again. She's been on the road opening for Chris Fleming, and we are stoked to get her back in the Tri-Cities on the 28th of March. Then on the 11th of April, I'm down in Carborough, North Carolina, doing a little show at a place called Lanza's Cafe. On the 17th, I'm going to be at the Raleigh Vault. That is a little venue there on April the 17th. That's a Friday. April the 18th, we have got a huge show for Don't Tell Tri-Cities with an outstanding first-time headliner. Can't wait to get him. Can't believe we've got him. It's going to be incredible. On Friday the 24th of April, I'm going to be back in Raleigh judging a roast battle, the Triangle Roast Battle. That's on the 24th. And then on the 28th, I'm doing a spot in Raleigh, North Carolina for my good buddy, Carrie James, former guest of the show. Super excited to be down in Raleigh for most of April and May. More dates coming soon. Now back to the episode. Yeah.
Or like editing animation. 10 seconds of animation, you're editing it the old school way.
Hundreds
you're not
of
using
hours.
AI because that's the devil.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But like, you should be a better producer than a comic because you've been doing comedy 4 years. You've been a producer for a hot fucking minute.
That's very true.
As far as what life has
my
given you. My
brain
brain
also just works in that way. Maybe it's autism, maybe it's Maybelline. I don't know, but it's fucking like I can compartmentalize. I can multitask. Like the skills that you need. Leadership. I don't really know. I don't feel like I'm a very strong leader, but like I can facilitate. I can create an experience for crowd and for comic. And so like sitting on the side watching you guys, I would be lying to you if I said I was like, oh, I wish, I'm sad I'm over here. Because the truth is, I could just stand up and go over there.
You could. I did. I left every bit of my merch.
I don't know.
I'm
more like,
I ain't gonna sell shit tonight.
Yeah, no, and I knew that too. It was more about just like letting y'all have your moment because it's like I almost like built a playroom and then let the kids play. Don't fucking try to play with the kids. Why would you do it? It's going to ruin their time. Let them play.
No, you could have played.
So a couple nights before,
you'd have gotten chest slaps.
Previous week we had gone to Asheville, me and Travis, to do that open mic at the Odd. And I went
to the Odd or the Disclaimer?
I went Disclaimer the week before by myself, and then Trav and I went to the Odd.
Oh hell
to see Ryan Cox. It was odd. Yeah. It was exactly.
It lives up to its name.
Yes, it does.
Love that room, dude.
It was interesting. Yeah, I mean, I didn't hate it. It's like everything I'm not good at or used to, but I didn't hate it. I went up and had like a fine set. It completely flatlined at the end, like really bad flatline. But I went up and had a fine set, and then I came off, and then Travis goes up, and of course...
Kills,
destroys, and he's already schmoozed the whole room. He's fist bumping everybody as they come off stage. He's set up a hot crowd. He's stocked pond. I know, I hate it. Bitch. Well, it's very hard to like travel with him, and he's kind of like a lot of times he's been my kind of North Star for like he's giving me guidance and advice, but it's not always easy when your North Star is like the best comedian you've ever met, and he's good at everything. You're like, fuck, I suck, dude.
Like, dude, be bad at one thing. And then like he's got a wonderful marriage to a wonderful lady and everything, and I'm like, dude, I suck at something. I know. Like you're a musician, you're good at that. Oh, you're a comedian, you're good at that. Holy shit, look at the videos you
flipping
edit
houses,
and everything.
Taking pictures, everything.
Yeah. Oh, wait, you're a carpenter too? You do man shit with your fucking hand? Yeah. Kiss my ass.
I hate it, but I love him so much. And anyway, so he goes up at the Odd, and I'm sitting at the bar watching him, and this girl kind of came up next to me and was like, where are you from or whatever? She's like one of the comics and was getting to know me, and I was like, I'm from Bristol, and she was like, who's this guy? And I was like, oh, he's with me. And she was like, oh, and we're sitting there watching him. And there was this weird, like, I don't want to sound too stupid or whatever, but like this weird thing where I was like, that's my friend. You know, like just watching him succeed does do something for me a little bit, where it's like, I'm not that good, but he is, and he's my friend, and I like that.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel about producing. It's like, those are my friends. They're having a good time, and it's because of me, kind of. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
It feels good, dude. So I have to do this shout out. I have to shout out Malcolm Franklin, because I have never, like, in comedy, like when Chris Tester showed up and just hung out and was supportive, and like, there's not enough comics that do that.
Not around here.
I don't do that enough. You know,
well, it's hard to do for some people. You know, some people have a legitimate excuse, but a lot of people don't.
Well, I mean, like, I got my first booked Nashville show 2 weeks ago. You know, like, hey, come down to Nashville. We'll pay you to come to Nashville.
That's new.
And, you know, tell some jokes. And if you want to go home after that, cool. If not, hopefully we can get you something else. And Malcolm drove an hour. And then after that hour, watched me do 10 minutes, hung out for about 15 minutes after that, and was like, all right, well, I got to go to work. And then drove an hour back.
That's a good Malcolm. Yeah. You do a good Malcolm.
Yeah. Okay. Got to go to work.
Got to go to work. Yeah, that's pretty good.
But, you buttermilk bitches. Bitches.
Yeah.
But you know, to be that kind and that supportive, and then like you look at his Instagram and stuff, and he is sharing everybody that he gets along with and stuff, and like anybody he's worked with before, and they get, and like
he shares this show,
he shares this show. He shares anything I'm on. He shares anything that Travis is on.
Yeah,
like it just.
Well, it's kind of what we're talking about too. With me a little, where it's like sometimes your biggest contribution to the world of stand-up isn't your 10-minute set. Like in Malcolm's case, him sharing my show maybe gets a few more listens, maybe it doesn't, but just the idea that it might is a huge contribution to the whatever. Again, I get a little woo-woo about stand-up sometimes, but whatever this like living beast organism that is stand-up comedy, I think the more you feed it, the more it rewards you. And I think that Malcolm feeds it a lot. You know, like he's always supporting.
Yeah, and I mean, like he's, you know, yes, he still has a full-time job and all that stuff. And at the same time, he has gone through 2 cars in the last 5 years.
He travels like nobody's business.
Yeah, I mean, he puts the miles down.
He cracks me up on his Instagram stories because it'll be like a poll. And it'll be like, where should I perform next Thursday? And it'll be like Bristol, Knoxville, Nashville,
fucking
Chattanooga, Des Moines, Anchorage, New York, Buffalo, Detroit. And you're like, how the fuck are you going to get to all these places? Yeah. And he'll be like, pick 3.
Yeah,
like,
pick 3.
If I pick Anchorage, Buffalo, and Bristol, how are you going to do all 3? He does.
I'm going to drive through Canada.
He gets around, dude.
Yeah,
he gets around.
And he's just so nice.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, it's very, you know, after the last couple of months that I've had, and obviously you and I have talked a lot off camera, but like one thing that I've grown to appreciate even more so, you know, like it's different as a comic and as a booker. As a booker, I have to value your material. So if you're not the funniest option, I just can't book you, and I'm sorry for that. And sometimes, you know, God knows on this wrestling show, I had 1,000 people who were going to kill themselves, allegedly. He's still here. But allegedly, if I didn't put him on the show. And part of me wanted to. And part of me is like, I'm your friend. I would love to. But as a booker, it just doesn't make sense to me, or it doesn't line up. And then I also have these other situations where it's like, hey man, put me on the show, but I feel that it's kind of disingenuous. It's not like you don't actually give 2 shits about me or the show. Yeah. So then I have to separate that as a booker and go, I'm just a book. Don't let that influence. You know, it kind of runs both ways a little. Yeah.
I can certainly, like, you know, I have issue with one particular booker.
I do.
In a certain area.
Yes, I do.
And I understand why that person kind of can be that way.
Yes.
Because of, there's a shit ton of people hitting you up every single day.
The longer I produce, the more I get it.
Yeah. And like, you know, I'm getting older and everything. I'm a crotchety old man some days. You know, I'm like, God, I wish there was another plague. You know, like the Thanos snap didn't take out enough. You know, that kind of. But like, if you can be like, hey, you don't really match what I want to do with this show,
Right.
but I would like you
Right.
to be on another one or something like that. You know, you're way nicer about it compared to,
Whew,
and I'm sure that's taxing to be nice about
taxing, and it's getting there. You know, like I will say, there's one in particular that comes to mind of like, if I go to an open mic in a particular city, this particular open micer will stand between me and the exit and be like, hey, I'm trying to get on a show. That's getting there for me, where it's like, I'm about one more of those away from going, get the fuck away from me. Like, I'm here to work. I'm here to do stand-up. I'm not here for you. I know this shocks you, but I didn't drive here to shake your hand and say, it's finally time. It's not going to happen. And I've put you down easy a lot of times.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of my way. You know, I'm getting there with a couple people, but overall, there's no point in being a dickhead about stuff, you know, like, and even there's a lot of comics that you're not my particular flavor. I'm sure that somebody would love to book you on their show, but for what my show is, say what you want about it, it's my show, and that's the only way I know how to run it. Yeah. It's the only way it's succeeded is because I book it off of my taste and my production and my value. So if you don't align with that, I just can't do it. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna throw you a bone.
Right.
You know, that's not what Don't Tell's for. If I produce some little independent show, that's the place to earn your stripes and make your mark and but that's not what Don't Tell is.
Yeah.
It's just not the same
like
thing.
there's a ton of small theaters out there. There is a lot of opportunity for a lot of different people.
But all the people who harass me about not doing Don't Tell also aren't doing jack shit anywhere else. Yeah. So it's like, I'm not going to be your first. When I see you working, maybe that would convince, go work, go do other stuff. Yeah. And see, and build your 10 or build your 20 or whatever you're trying to sell me.
Well, and another thing, like, I don't understand, because probably because I'm old, probably because there's a generational difference.
Sure.
You know?
Well, I'm happy to shed some light. Yeah.
But I don't get people that are 6 or 8 months in expecting $100 a minute, that kind of thing, or like, why am I not getting paid for a show, dude? You've been telling jokes for 6 months, and it's or not less. Every week, or either. Yeah. So,
do you want to hear my take on it? I mean,
sure.
And to be honest with you, this may be as candid as I've ever been about the issue. I will omit names just out of niceties and business. I think more than anything, when it comes to younger comics expecting too much too early, it comes down to mostly, obviously there's a lot of factors. More than anything, I think it's bad leadership. I think it's bad leadership. I think it's bad mentorship. It's bad advice. And it's a product of the path they've had thus far. So if you're 3 months in and you're hosting shows left and right and doing way more time than you should for people you should never be on stage in front of, it's only natural. It's not your fault. You think that's normal. So then you turn around and go, why am I not getting on Don't Tell? That's not my fault. I didn't do that to you. I will, at this point in my life, I will say to you what I feel the problem is. But overall, I didn't do that to you. So it's not on me to now make up for it. That's just not reality. Truth that one thing I tell people a lot, because I've been very fortunate that most people will take my easy put downs. They'll take your sandwich. They'll take my sandwich, and sometimes they'll keep irritating me about it, and I'll keep giving them the easy answer, but they know the real answer. That happens for sure. But I've only had a few instances where it was pretty direct or heated at all. And pretty much my only rebuttal in those situations is well, here's the lineup from the last show. So why don't you tell me who you're better than? Who shouldn't have been on that show? Right. And they've never, the couple of instances that's happened, they can't answer that. Because they know the truth, But it's easier to point fingers at me and go, he's mean, he doesn't book me, than it is to go, I suck as a comedian. That's just reality. And I'm sorry, again, that's maybe a little more direct or candid than I should be, but I just... that's how I feel about it. And
well, so, you have a product, and you have to maintain what you think is the quality of that product.
And I have really no shortage of comics to pull from. Even just locally, I have upwards of 10 between here and Knoxville that I have no problem. They're always looking for spots, So it's not like I'm in a hard place. Now, I will say that does sometimes lead to me really craving new faces. Like I've got a guy coming in May who I just booked today he's just featuring, but I met him years ago, thought he was fantastic. He's a great dude. I kind of keep up with his trajectory, and when he comes in May, I'm sure it'll be a huge relief to have a new feature, because I get new headliners all the time, but recycling features can be a little exhausting. So it's just, I don't know, the whole producing thing is kind of a nightmare, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and like I'm really I think I'm gonna try and do some Ryan Cox level stuff, and I feel like y'all talked about it. Like he is like, oh, look how inflated my head is just because I'm
my
doing
face
these things that I'm headlining, and I've headlined the club.
Yeah.
I've done over an hour.
In the old days, too. Yeah. When it was popping.
And so I was like, okay, but I haven't been able to headline in a year.
Yeah.
So to put together that amount of material and not be able to put it out, you're like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
So I completely got why Ryan's doing what he's doing.
Yeah. And that was a great episode. Yeah. I love Ryan.
Yeah.
I'm going to do his pod again here soon. But was very honest, I thought, about that balance between, like, the only way I know to do this is to do it myself. And that comes with some almost embarrassment of, like, I don't want to be, Ryan Cox headlining, blah, blah, blah. But you kind of have to be. That's what I told him. I was like, I think you just have to be what you hate.
Like, when we have talked about this probably till we're blue in the face and it was on, Talking Bits as well. Every time I was on there, you have to build your brand yourself.
Yeah, nobody's going to do it.
Nobody's going to do that. I mean, like you can go viral on accident and that kind of thing. You can get your 5 minutes, and it's not even 15 minutes of fame now. It's 15 seconds.
It's seconds. Yeah.
So, like, you have to capitalize on what you get, and you have to make your own luck.
Yeah. I mean, I also think that as comedians, a lot of times what brings us to the art form is a sense of, like, insecurity or these, like, a lot of it, not exclusively, but a lot of us share these feelings of self-doubt or these issues. And so I think when you mix that cocktail of, like, self-doubt or insecurity with I'm gonna put my face on a billboard and say I'm headlining 50 shows in a year, that's automatically a rough formula, like that just is a weird thing. I'm not there yet, so I don't necessarily deal with it firsthand, but I think Ryan talked really honestly about it.
I do think it's funny that, like, that episode just came out. He's from Tennessee, moved to Asheville.
Yeah, that's true. And you're reverse.
I'm from Asheville and moved to Tennessee.
And you're next. You are next. Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty funny as far as.
And what a great dude too.
Yeah.
He's always been. He's one of the few people I've met in the world of stand up where, like, for pretty much 4 years we've slowly built this relationship and trust with each other. Where I'm yet to see, like, the flaw in his armor, and I'm not going to say the expression because that's a slur now, but the flaw in his armor, I'm yet to see it, I don't know what it is. And obviously I'm sure he has his flaws, but I find him to be a very honest person.
I think he's very well balanced.
Yeah.
And that's what you have to be. He's a good person.
I think
Number one.
I've also seen him interact with his kids and his wife, and I've been in his home, and I'm like, oh, this is like a solid dude. He's not perfect. Nobody is, obviously. But, like, he's a solid dude. And I find him very, almost to his own detriment, very honest about the state of his scene and his place in that scene. I know that he receives some pushback at times for his honesty, and I relate to that more than he could possibly know.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I think the two of you have a thing in common, whereas, like, he is at the level he's at, and you are in charge of you've got a show here. Yeah, everybody wants to be on it.
A core show of the scene.
Yeah,
is fair.
And then he has gotten out of the quote unquote comics of that era or that area,
right? Asheville comedians.
He is probably one of the most recognizable
Sure.
You know, so everybody and their brother is like, hey, can I open for you? Can I be on this show
well,
with you?
He's 10 years in now.
Yeah, and now and so with him producing and getting into this, bringing an Asheville comic over to Johnson City or whatever, you know, I think he's really walking that tightrope pretty well.
I do too, and I think I trust him, unlike a lot of other people I book. You know, like last time I booked him, I was a feature short, and I was like, hey man, if there's anybody you want to bring, I trust you. And he brought Derek Boskowitz, which was hilarious. Like, I wound up having to make him go first too, which I don't love to do for first time features, but that's just how it played out. And he went up first and cracked the fucking room open. Like, I've already talked to him about coming back, you know. So it's like I trust Ryan's judgment as a booker, as a comic, as a podcaster. Like, I'm yet to find something I don't align with him on. Now, I will say in his episode, like, as we're discussing, obviously the difference, he lives in Nashville. There's some cultural differences between he and I. But when it comes down to this thing we do, this thing we share, I think we're pretty much on board. And I'm finding that more and more now that I've cut out the negative voices that I don't align with. I'm starting to look and go, oh, there was like positivity all along. Yeah. I just was so hyper focused on this one thing that I, you know what I mean? Like it's and that like that's life maybe more than stand-up. I mean, like
I'm going to open mic there tomorrow, you know, and it's I want to go there. Like I
so do I.
I love the Odd.
Yeah,
love that room, and I have a lot of history with that room as far as like, you know, how I grew up there.
Sure.
And some of the shows I've seen there, like every time I get on that stage, I'm like, oh, you know.
Can I tell you a funny story about that? I don't think I've told you this. I haven't said it on the show for sure. So Ryan was on the pod. We recorded, you know, it comes out a couple weeks later. So we recorded, and he was like, you should come over to the Odd sometime. And I had just gone over to the listening room or disclaimer or whatever. And it was great. And I was like, okay, I'll try the Odd. So he convinces me. I tell Trav, I'm like, I got to go. It's super last minute, but do you want to go? And he was like, sure. So we go. We get there. I don't know why. I thought that Ryan had told me like 6:30 or something for the signups.
It's like 9.
So we get there at 6:30. I go straight from work to Trav. Go straight there. We get there at 6:30. We walk in to it's a little building, the Odd. And the bartender's back there, and I'm just going to be honest, he didn't look like he was happy to see us at all. No, and we were two of the only people in there. So we walk in, and we go to the back, and there's all the chairs are stacked up, and I looked at Trav, and I was like, are they even doing it? I was like, I just talked to Ryan yesterday. He said, you know, to be here, whatever. And I was like, are we early? And Trav was like, I'll just Google it. And I go, why don't I just ask the bartender? And Travis was like, he does not look like he wants you to ask him a question. I was like, fuck that, man. It's his job. I'm just going to go ask him. So I go up to the bartender. I go, hey, man, is there an open mic here tonight? And he goes, he has his arms folded, and he goes, every Tuesday for the last 12 years.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, dick. You know, like, I was just asking. And I go, what time does it start? And he goes, 8. And I was like, thanks.
And it's not going to start on time either.
Well, it didn't. It was after 9. So then I go back to Trav, and I go, what a dick. And he was like, what? And I was like, I just asked him, and, you know, here's what he said. And he was like, oh. And he's like, well, you want to go, like, ride around? And I was like, yeah, let's go. So we walk outside. I'm not even kidding, Brett. As we turn out the front door, we walk past a giant flashing marquee sign that says open mic comedy tonight at 8. So it turns out he wasn't a dick. I'm just an idiot.
Yeah, Dolly Parton didn't teach us to read too good, did he?
Dude,
shit. Sorry, Dolly.
I walked right by it to get in the door and then asked the man what time the open mic started. I felt like such an asshole. I was like, hey, man, sorry. When we went back, I was like, hey, sorry about that earlier. I didn't even see that giant sign up front. That's on me. That's my bad.
That's awesome.
It was interesting. I will say it's probably, and Ryan said this too, I think even on the show, like, it's probably the most Asheville open mic you could possibly do at the Odd. So that's obviously a bit of a culture shock, but I do think it was interesting to see what that room found funny as far as my set goes. I mean, what they found funny of the others, I don't trust it.
And like it can be such a hit and miss room with as far as crowd showing up for the open mic.
It was pretty good.
I mean, like, some nights it is all comics and it is all Asheville comics.
It was mostly that.
But then, like, some nights there's a pretty decent crowd
I think that
shows
must
up to
just
that
be
open
the
mic.
story of Asheville comedy. Because when I went to that Disclaimer Lounge, there was like over 30 non-comics there.
Oh yeah,
That was a hot ass room. That's what you're doing tomorrow, right?
Yeah. And but like Michelle that runs Slice of Life down like in the Pulp and everything, her shows sell really well.
Yeah.
Really great crowds.
Yeah.
Like if she ever wants me on, I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Well, that room's very intimidating. I remember doing that with you years ago. We drove over and Cody Hughes was hosting.
Yeah. I kept a video clip from that.
I love Cody so much. But that's an intimidating room. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Melissa Hahn was there that night or something. There was a lot of like pressure in the room. And I remember, the only thing I really remember about that night is Cody was smoking like a CBD joint out front. And then he went on stage and was like, oh, I'm so faded off that CBD joint, which was so funny. And then I remember you taking bourbon shots like you do, like we're doing, and you kept saying to me, like, you know who's in this room right now? You know who's over there? And I was like, stop fucking telling me that. I don't want to know who all's in this room. By the time I went on stage, I was having a full-blown panic attack because I thought the fucking booker for The Tonight Show was sitting somewhere in the room. I mean, you gassed me up like no other. But, I mean, you know, obviously just due to circumstances, I'm starting to dip my toes into that scene a little more, and I'm kind of with Ryan Cox, where I'm like, I see the issues. I see what everybody has a problem with, but also there's some legitimacy to that scene.
Oh yeah,
and
I mean, there's, you know, especially for that particular area, and
it survived Helene.
Yeah,
that's big to me too.
Like,
it came back,
man. That to live here and see that, it was
so hard.
Yeah, I mean, like my mom,
because we're close.
My mom evacuated, and she evacuated the night before it actually flooded, and then like seeing her property, and then knowing that my daughter had to walk out of that, and like it was like I was trying to rent a helicopter to go get my kid, you know. And then I finally get a text message from her, and it was, you know, I don't care what you say about Elon, I was able to get that text message.
Starlink,
but yeah, to see, you know, that land is 5th generation land,
right? And
to see what it did, I was like, oh my God,
devastated.
I can't imagine living through it, you know.
No,
which. And the community came together in a way that I think they didn't realize was possible. I mean, like when you've got a whole bunch of rednecks from Fairview helping out a whole bunch of hippies in West Asheville, that's pretty cool. I wish I wish the world was a little bit more like the day after. You know?
I do, and maybe it taught them something too. Both sides in that situation. I do value that, and I do think, like, in terms of the comedy scene there, it is a weird. Like, even at the Odd, there was a couple of guys there, definitely more so at the Disclaimer Lounge, where I was like, "Oh, you're not." When I think of like an Asheville comic, you're not what comes to mind. You know, and I even had one dude who I'd never met. It was very nice, and I can't recall his name, but he said that to me. He was like, I'm probably not what you expected to run into over here. Because he was making some crazy-ass jokes, just off stage to me. And I was like, no, but you fucking rule. And he was like, yeah. Like, I like that it's so easy from an hour and a half away to go, here's what it is. But then when you go to it, it's not. You know, it's complex.
That's one of the... Like we've talked, you know, ad nauseum about how I'm a huge fan of Henry Rollins.
Yeah.
And,
yes, we have.
And but like he travels, he goes to places that make him uncomfortable, make anybody uncomfortable, and he tries to do his best as far as navigating those waters. You know? And
have you done black rooms at all? I've been talking to other comics about this.
I've been begging for them.
Yeah.
And I have not. I've had rooms that are more coffee than cream. I guess the best way to put it. But I have not done a black room.
Right.
Like
Fuck you, dude. I'm not gonna. That's so funny. The whiskey is set again, folks. No, I mean, truthfully, though, like for anyone who maybe the uninitiated, if you're listening to this because you love Pruett and you don't know a lot about stand-up, it's a thing that comics talk about of like, there are quote-unquote black rooms. Where it's like, it's a very different vibe than something we experience at Blue Ridge and Bristol. The closest one I've done a couple shows in Atlanta, mostly at the Skull, though, so it's like, it's a touristy.
It's still a very mixed room.
Touristy crowd. But I did New Orleans. I did the Comedy House of New Orleans back when that was still a club. And that was a very fun club, and I made some friends there. But I was just in town on vacation, and, we were talking about the don't tell thing carries more weight than it should. So I just sent a cold email. I was like, here's who I am. Here's my Instagram. And I did the don't tell Instagram and stuff. And they gave me 3 paid shows the week I was there on vacation at the club.
Fuck yeah.
So I get there, and it's a very small club. It's very intimate. But let's just say I was the only cream in that pot of coffee. Okay. I walked in there, and that's not a negative. To be honest, I was thrilled by it.
Oh yeah, dude.
I was stoked for the challenge. I will say,
that first laugh in the first 10 seconds.
Dude, I learned very quick what not to talk about.
Yep.
Because, have I told you this story before? So the guy before me was a very nice guy, and I can't remember his name either. I met him in New Orleans, very funny black comic from New Orleans. And he goes up, and he does, his closing bit was about a game he invented called Gay Chicken. And he's like,
that's not, he didn't invent that.
Well,
that's been around for a hot minute.
Okay, so he's saying he invented in the joke. He's like, me and my friends used to play this game I came up with, Gay Chicken. He's like, basically, you start to walk towards each other, and the last one to pull away before you kiss is gay or whatever. Right? So it's kind of doing fine because they accept him as one of their own. So then I follow him, and I go up, and I was a little late getting out the curtain. They didn't describe backstage to me right or something. It took me a second. So I get out there, and I was like, hey, sorry I'm late. I was backstage playing Gay Chicken with that guy, right?
Yeah.
As soon as I say it, this dude in the front lounged out. I'm talking like barely on the seat, huge legs stretched out, giant sneakers, just chilling, just waiting for me to walk into his life. I said, sorry I'm late. I was playing Gay Chicken with that guy. And he goes, from like the front row. And it went, and I was like, what? And he goes, I was like, what? And then I go, oh, you guys don't play around with that gay shit in here, huh? And he goes, nope. Next. He said next to me. Dude, I panicked. But I just did the hacky white guy thing where I just kind of widened it up a little. And that worked to dig me out. And then I started doing jokes, and it's New Orleans, so it's still in the South. Like, Andy Griffith still hits there. Things I talk about still hit there. So I made it out and did fine. But immediately, just like that cold start, I was like, fuck me, man. They're not used to seeing me come out of that curtain, Even, it's not necessarily a black or white thing either. I kind of have this vibe, too. This little, like, country boy. Like, it's just not what you're expecting at this show.
I mean, you do not have a full beard.
I don't have a full beard, and it was a big switch up from the guy before me.
Oh, yeah.
With the dreadlocks. And
That's one of the things I love about, like, going up to some of the shows in Virginia and that kind of thing. And I'm actually going up Friday to South Boston, Virginia with Joe awesome. And Angela. And
what's that show?
It's at a seafood place. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
like, at a seafood place in South Boston, Virginia.
Yeah. I'm actually really looking forward to it.
It'll be very fun with
L.A. Preston booked it.
Yeah.
So like, and shout out to him. But like, dude, some of those rooms in Virginia got, like I said, more coffee than cream, and like you had to lean into that.
Yeah.
And
you do well there because that's your family and that's your.
It is, and like I have no qualms about saying this. You can say, "Oh, that's racist."
You've got a real latte of a family. Yeah.
I do. I got a mochaccino for sure. But like
extra whip. Yeah. It's fancy.
There's some espressos in there.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like it's to me, it's like racism is the stupidest thing that human beings have ever come up with.
Agreed.
Except for AI. That's fucking horrible.
It's close second. Yeah. Wait till you find out about racist AI.
Yeah, Whew. Racist AI, and it's writing some shit on Twitter right now.
Okay, sorry. We're back. We're talking about your show. Cool time to cut. cool time to cut back.
Almost spewed.
I'm a great host.
Almost spewed whiskey
We're
in
back.
your face.
We're talking about your show in South Boston, Virginia.
Yeah.
Which, for some reason, feels like the only town in Virginia that Sean Carter would move to. I don't know what that's about, but Boston.
Well, I'm
South Boston.
But I'm looking forward to. The big thing is it's a book show. I'm in a new area, and I get to travel with Joe.
Yeah.
So
Angela seems great too. I haven't interacted with her a ton, but I think
great.
she's very great.
She's a great hang.
That's good.
Funny lady.
Most important.
Dark comic. So not like her niche and like my material usually don't vibe.
Yeah.
But we've been on a couple of shows together and it has worked.
That's good.
So she's to be a newer comic. I think she's been at it like a year and
about
a half.
About a year, I would
like
say.
That.
Yeah.
And starting to get that ability to read a room.
Yeah.
Where she's like, okay, I can't do this dark joke,
but
I can do this dark joke.
Right.
So learning that she's starting to get put her feet in the stirrups. Getting a feel for it.
That's a cool spot to be in. Do you remember that phase in your thing?
Yeah, I miss that.
That might be the best phase.
I miss that phase. I miss being panic attack excited.
Yeah. I remember opening for
anymore.
Meredith on these weird usually LA Preston shows in the middle of nowhere where I'm like, why am I doing this? And just me and Meredith and Dustin in the car for 6 hours and then on stage for 5 minutes. Yeah. That shit is I miss that. I miss before people were weird to me.
Yeah.
Over Don't
traveling
stuff,
for an open mic, dude. That's why I'm going to Asheville tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'll probably go to Knoxville next Wednesday.
Disclaimer's worth the drive.
I might even do Tuesday and Wednesday. I don't know. I want to get out of as much as the Tri-Cities has given me as far as comedy, I do need to get out of it. Ryan was talking about getting out of his bubble and stuff.
Yeah. Well, you can crush here. That's also part of it is you got to remind yourself, not only can you bomb, but also that you're good. In my case, when I went to Asheville, I'm not going to lie to you. It's 4 minutes at Disclaimer. I did the hits.
Yeah.
I did my Titus 4 because I'd never been there before, and it destroyed. And it was this little thing where I go, some people would say that's hacky, but I just needed to remind myself, oh no, that's funny. I don't suck.
Well, that, and we've talked about it before as well. You go to a new area, you play the hits.
Yeah,
if you're going to an open mic in a new area, you play what you know.
You never know who's in that crowd.
Because,
you might get booked off of it. Yeah, absolutely. Cascade Draft House. I'm proud to tell you that Cascade Draft House is a proud first sponsor of the Mind Over Mike podcast. I'm very excited to team up with them, and they are a special business. If you love good beer, I know I do, you got to get down to Cascade Draft House. It's on State Street in Bristol, Tennessee, and they've got an amazing selection of 40 rotating taps, so there's always something new to try. They've got ciders, they've got seltzers, they've got IPAs, lagers, you name it. Tons of cool stuff, and it's not just about the drinks at Cascade. It really, truly is an awesome vibe in there. They've got open mic nights. There's fun for everybody. It's a great spot. Go and check out them, and thank Cascade Draft House for supporting the Mind Over Mike podcast. Now back to the episode.
So, now you start going to that open mic regular. Yeah. Working a new joke. You get 4 minutes, do 3 minutes of the hits, try that new one.
Yeah.
Work it in somewhere, don't close with it.
Especially in a room like that. I think they had told me that it kind of varies week to week, but I think I was there on a pretty average or good week. And in that room with, 30 non-comics, I would feel comfortable trying new stuff. It's a little different than going to a local open mic where it's the same 6 people as it is every week, and they've heard all my shit, and I have to try new stuff, and even that bombs because they're also in their head about the situation or whatever. It's nice to be reminded, I can do this thing. Yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Well, that, and you, especially when you were talking a while back about you were hating doing the same 10 minutes at all these shows, and you have to go and knock the rust off of this bit. You gotta try this one. Maybe if I change up the verbiage a little bit on this joke, you know, even though you've had that joke for a year and a half, you can still make that joke better. I mean, like I had the stealing testosterone joke for like a year, and
it's so good.
Went down to Austin, got that joke down to 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And it was, now it is, I can't miss a word.
Right.
If I do it this way.
It's tight. Yeah. Well, part of it too is like traveling for Don't Tells. I mean, generally, you know, like I just posted a show flyer today. So like 3 or 4 of the 7 shows I'm on this month are Don't Tells, you know, and 2 of them are my own. But so like doing those, it's always a 10-minute spot. I know what to expect. You know, I run the show and I'm doing Winston-Salem, which is my friend EJ, who's fantastic. And
he's
great
such
producer
a cool
and great guy, and he runs a great show. So I kind of know what to expect. So it's like, it's that split between I don't want to disappoint him by not doing well, but I also don't want to do the same 10 I have to do every 2 weeks at my own show. And I will say my own show is like, I can't get fired, you know, because it's my show.
You can bomb.
I can do whatever the fuck I want. A lot of times I don't, just because I momentum. I don't want to bury the lineup.
Okay. Yeah.
But occasionally I do. I mean, I've tried. I've tried jokes for the first time.
Yeah.
At a Don't Tell show, whereas normally for most comics, Don't Tell is like, ooh, it's my tightest tent. You know, with me, it's a little different. But then for other shows, like I'm doing my first ever spot at the Idiot Box while I'm over there.
Play the hits.
I'm going to play. Yeah, dude. Yeah. I'm not trying to work out this new thing I'm thinking of. Like, but you know what's so funny? Like this whole conversation for someone listening who maybe, again, isn't a stand-up or just knows you, feels so inside baseball. Like I worry about that on the show.
We're talking about how the sausage is made.
Realistically, though, I do think it's broader than that. Like even with Ryan, a lot of the stuff I talked about with him was very inside baseball. It's very producing and stuff. But anything you love in life, I think these same principles apply to it. You know, often like on the show, I'll talk about stand-up because it's all I think about. You know, I'm in love with it, and it's this cruel mistress that I have. But I do think that sometimes when I talk about it so nichely, I'm worried about it resonating with other people.
Right.
But truthfully, it's just life.
This is what we like.
It's whatever you like is the same principles applied. Like work hard, do your best. It's all the same shit.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not like, you know, neither of us have a damn Netflix special out.
No.
You know, like I'm going to to an open mic in a different city tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And the main cause that I'm going to that is because I get to go and have a drink with my daughter beforehand.
That's great.
Like, it's just like if I go over to Asheville, I get to hang out with my kid.
Yeah. And I do feel that some of the negativity I was talking about before of cutting that out of my life has kind of opened my mind to this idea that like, oh, I can do this thing I really love that I want to be my whole life and try to kind of sometimes be happy while doing it.
Yeah.
You know, like it's kind of weird to get to that point after pretty much 4 years of just one or the other bad mentors being like,
there's so much of like, if you want to be successful, you got to do this formula, blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
You know?
But what's success mean to you?
Yeah, exactly. But like, man,
I don't want to be successful. I want to be happy. And a lot of times those two overlap. Sometimes they don't, though.
No, dude. I mean, like I am just as happy being at home with my gorgeous wife.
Yeah.
And playing Fortnite.
Who was also at the show, by the way. And she was great. I love her laugh is so great. God, she carries my energy. Yeah.
And you can hear it from across the room. She's loud. You should be around her when she sneezes.
I bet it'll clear out the house.
She's a beautiful, wonderful lady.
Yes.
That is she's loud as fuck.
Yeah. She's great. Well, that's what you need in that.
Oh yeah, and I mean she's an incredible cheerleader. I loved hearing my mom laugh because
did she have a good time?
Oh, she had a blast.
Did she? I didn't get to talk to her much, but
so like by the time I was done with all my shenanigans in the ring and everything, she was like, Jonathan, I'm a little bit tired. And I was like, of course you are. You're 78.
It's quite late.
It's fucking 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
So, but
like,
she had a really good time.
Does she have a favorite comic that she sees often or anything? Like,
no, she just wants to be.
She's game for whatever.
Yeah. She's like, my mom's a badass, dude.
Yeah.
She is the picture of grace and grit. Mm-hmm.
Last time you were on the show, you said was it like a razor blade wrapped in cotton balls?
She's a cotton ball wrapped around a razor blade.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Fantastic. God, that's great. That stuck with me.
Like, it's just to be as loving and caring as she is about her family, people in general. She is active in church. She fills up the food box, and her church has a food bank. Box and stuff, right. And she fills that up once a week. And before she got up in her years, she was taught Sunday school and that kind of thing. And like, you ask anybody about my mom, and they're like, she is the sweetest lady. But I know for a fact that she has a 38 under her pillow.
Yeah.
And she's a really good shot.
Yeah. There's something to be said too, which we've talked about her many times on and off camera. I don't know that I've ever really thought as deeply about her age, because 78, right? Mm-hmm. 78. I do think there's something to be said for, not only is she out until 11 p.m. supporting her son in a fucking wrestling arena at a stand-up comedy wild show where Drew Morgan was on some crazy rant, and then mid-rant looks at her and goes, "Hello, old lady. I just realized you're here for the first time."
She cackled for that one. Yes. I heard that from backstage.
That's amazing.
I heard that cackle.
So she's supportive of that.
Mama got a good one.
Yeah, she's also, at 78, she's supportive of you and your beliefs and your values and your kids, and she's supportive of her transgender grandkids at 78. I mean, how many 78-year-olds are truly that supportive?
Seeing my Presbyterian mom try so hard to get the pronouns right.
Right.
I'm like, that's who I want to be when I grow up.
That's just love. I mean, that's all that is like my pure
dad,
love.
My dad was a tough dude.
Yeah.
And he was very, very loving. The last words and it's something that I took to my kids was like, the last words I said to my dad was, "I love you," and the last thing he ever said to me was, "I love you."
Right.
And I want that for my kids. So my kids leave the room, or like when either of my kids leave the house, or we have a phone conversation or whatever, it's, "I love you."
You gotta say it.
That's the last thing you're going to hear me say. But he wouldn't have been the man he was without my mom.
Right.
So it just...
Well, and that kind of leads me to something I've been meaning to talk about more too, is like, the older I get to, I think, the whole like, oh, it's a man's world, whatever, like, men run the world, but that there's some truth to that, sure, but also, like, speaking from personal experience, and I'll just say this now because we're past it and we made it. This is not an inflation. Without Hailey, there is no show at NetPro.
Yep.
Like, and that's not like, oh, she supported me through. No, like, she literally said the words to me, "I will carry the hope for the show while you can't."
Oh, dude.
She literally was like, "I understand where you're at and that you're so far stressed, and out of proportion with the show that you've given up on it." And she's like, "But I haven't. And so until you get it back, I'm going to hold it for you right here." Like legitimately, there is no Don't Tell Tri-Cities without her, and I obviously personally with her, I give her all the credit in the world, but on the show, I don't talk about it enough. And I think that it kind of goes with what you're saying of like, behind every hard ass or successful man,
every good man, there's an awesome woman.
Yeah. I mean, and I've got mine.
Yeah. You really do, dude.
Yeah.
And like, shout out Hailey, because god dang.
Well, she's not going to listen to the show.
She could definitely do better.
Boy, could she. I did tell her, I sometimes just to fuck with her, we were getting ready for the show before, we were getting ready to head that way, and she's in the bathroom getting ready, and I kind of walk up behind her in the mirror and grab her, and I just go, I was like, how many girlfriends tonight are getting ready to go to a wrestling arena with 115 seats sold that they're boyfriend's gonna produce him, blah, 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 just being annoying, and she's like, I don't know, not a lot, not a lot. And I'm like, yeah, you're pretty lucky, huh? And she's like, that's one way of looking at it. Yeah. Yeah. She's like, or you're dragging me through this shit.
How many girlfriends have had their boyfriends obsessing over a comedy show in a wrestling arena for 5 fucking months?
I mean, she was sick from me being sick.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Anxious. Like she's also kind of that type of human who, like, if I'm not feeling well, she's not feeling well.
Yeah.
She's incredibly empathetic.
That's like,
but also has an edge to her.
Yeah,
just like your mom. Yeah.
And it's like with Jen, going through 3 marriages, and then marrying basically, my best friend. I mean, you take in how long just we've known each other,
right,
and seeing how much we've changed from. I was 21, she was 19 when we met.
Yeah, that's some life changes between.
We were very different people then, and who we are now. What we went through to become these people, and we still get along.
Yeah,
and
also, are you of the opinion that, like, you weren't? It would have never worked before exactly when it did.
No, yeah, right? Exactly.
You had to go through those things separately.
Yeah, she and I have talked about that.
Yeah,
like I'll nudge her and be like, we could have been doing this 25 years ago, and she'll be like, you're a jerk. 25
no, we couldn't.
Years ago. I was like, yeah, you were kind of an asshole too.
But
but
that's
we got
one thing.
Along then, and we get along now, and it's so weird because we have very different tastes in certain things, and then on the vast majority of things is like shared brainwaves. It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah,
like we'll say shit at the same time, kind of thing.
Right.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
And it's gross.
Yeah, we do it too.
Yeah, but I love it. But then we have certain differences, and I look at her and I'm like, what do you mean you don't like that?
Do you struggle in those moments at all when she doesn't quite share your enthusiasm for? I will admit that's been a little difficult for me. In the relationship.
No, we really lean into it because because you have to have your differences, you have to have your own things in a good relationship. Like she loves rock hounding and plants and all that stuff, and I look at it and I go, "Oh, you're bringing outside shit inside. Stop it!" Like that plant, it was outside, it was happy outside. Why are you bringing it inside? That rock, it was happy outside. You're bringing it inside. Stop that shit. But and she's like, I think it's pretty. Fuck you. Yeah. And then I'll show her something that I really love as far as like, especially if it's something I think is funny.
Yeah.
And she doesn't think it's funny.
It's hard.
That's hard.
Yeah.
So like I showed her Letterkenny and she was like, not a fan. Yeah. I was like, okay, I guess I can hit you now.
How's the word divorce sound to you?
I was like, no, I'm not going to divorce you, but I can slap you around now when you're getting mouthy.
Well, that was the final straw. I do, I think I've talked.
Which I would never do.
Of course. Never do. We're joking. I do think several times with Hailey, it's like I've built up this expectation of like, after 3 years, I'm kind of like, I know her. I know what she's going to like. I know what she's not. When I'm wrong about that, it's extra bad. Yeah. It's not just you don't like this thing I like. It's I really thought you would like this one. Yeah. And you don't. That's a little hard. I don't know, man. Like after 3 years too, and the Don't Tell thing has a lot to do with it. Like she's my unpaid co-producer. She's always there. Yeah. She's always there with a clipboard ready to snatch a bitch up out of the crowd and tell her to shut up.
Dude, that was fucking hot. That was badass.
Dude, she did. And it didn't work well for her, but she did.
No, that girl said that girl shut the fuck up.
Till after. We'll talk. Off recording, baby. Yeah, because I think I have more details on that later. For anybody listening, Patreon. But I do I think with her too, that it comes a thing in our relationship sometimes where it's like we're co-business owners in a way with Don't Tell, where like the stress of that supersedes everything. Like whether we're having there was one time very early on, like show number 3 or 4, where we had been in an argument that day and she didn't come to Don't Tell. I left without her and I didn't even have the chairs set up yet and she pulled in.
Oh, that's awesome.
You know,
that's a fucking.
That's who she
trooper.
is. That's who she is. Like I don't think we spoke all night, but she did everything I needed her to do without me even like that's who she is. So there is some level to what you're saying too of like I want her to be different and I want us to have our differences and our moments, but also we operate as a team, like no matter what. Yeah.
And like so Jen has Crohn's. I'm sure she's okay with me talking about that.
Yeah.
So
there's
a lot with my nightlife. She can't come.
Sure.
She's got to be at home.
Yeah.
And
gotta be nearby.
Might be fatigue. It might be stomach issues, whatever.
Yeah.
She's not coming to every comedy show.
Yeah.
But then like there are nights where like, this last one.
Yeah.
And she was like, I don't care how I feel. I'm coming.
Yeah.
And I was like, baby, are you sure?
Yeah.
And I mean, she was not feeling good.
It's also 3 minutes from your house. That was close.
That one was close.
That particular one was close.
But the weekend before that, she went with me to Nashville.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And I mean, that's 4 hours in the car just to get there.
Yeah.
And then she insisted on driving all the way back. And I was like, you're going to by in pain by the time you get home. And she was like, no, I just wanted to do my part. And I'm like,
I know.
Isn't
that something?
I fucking love you.
Yeah, it's something, man. And I mean, I don't want to get too like deep on it on the show or anything, but I do think that I don't maybe talk about it enough. And obviously, a lot of my material is at Hailey's expense, and she enjoys it also. Don't let her fool you. She loves that she's 90% of my set, even if it is at her expense. I'm thinking about her. That's all she cares about.
Like the CPAP joke that I do, that and that's relatively new.
Yeah,
but
crushed on Saturday,
and it works.
Crushed,
and she loves it. And I'm like, I'm talking about doing you from the back while you're wearing a CPAP. And she's like, I know that's funny.
Did you have? I do want to ask, since we're kind of like, I do feel like this episode is sort of like a recap of the weekend we've had. Was there like a particular moment in the show that stood out to you? Because again, I was kind of blacked out for a bunch of it, but there's little things to me. But was that, whether it's like a joke or a moment or anything that kind of stood out to you of like how crazy that show was at all?
Yeah. So I did my Samuel Jesus.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And when I said the big
what's
pop,
in your wallet? Yeah.
When I said you got Capital One Samuel Jesus, and I grabbed the rope, and I was like,
yeah.
And like to look at these two parts of like and to see this crowd and to know that my mom and my wife were there, and I'm shaking the top rope of a wrestling ring.
Yeah.
And I felt it bouncing when like it was just, you got Samuel Jesus. You got Capital One Samuel Jesus. And like, that was huge.
That's from being on stage too, or in ring. Like,
yeah.
And I had a few of those. I will say that probably the most cognizant I really was all night was that 12 minutes I was up there.
Yeah.
Because I'm so hyper focused on this set, and I'm checking in with different people. I want to see how they're reacting. I have an act out in my credit or debit thing.
Yep.
Where I typically, it's a tight stage normally, so I just kind of tiptoe in place. In that ring, I was able to back up and jump. And same thing you said, when I landed, I felt the ring shake below me, and I was like, damn, dude, this rules. That was like the one moment where I was like, this is awesome. It's so different.
You get that joy of being a kid jumping on a trampoline.
Yeah, exactly. It's so fun.
It was great. And then just some of the backstage interaction.
Yeah, that was cool.
And then
to have that space for everybody too was cool. And did you know, I don't know if you picked up on this, I think I'm hyper analyzing everything, as I do, but like the area we were in was kind of behind the stage, and then as you exit the curtain when they call your name, you're out on the stage, there's a ramp down, but behind that, where I had like y'all's Instagrams and stuff, there's a couple chairs scattered around. still comics split up from each other. Like, I expected everybody to be in that locker room the whole time. I would catch Keith over on the other side of the stage in a chair by himself. I would catch Chris hanging out by the steps. Drew was up behind the screen. People were down on the floor behind the curtains. Like, nobody still wanted to be in the same room. And I was like, that just shows you right there. Like, even when they have a dedicated green room, comics are going to wander. We just wander because we're thinking.
And yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And every comic needs that, especially like that 5 minutes before they're set,
or a little privacy.
Even 2 minutes or whatever. It's all right, let's go to work. No matter what that is.
Yeah, because once you're in the locker room, it's a hang.
Yeah.
You're not thinking about
once you're
your
done
set.
with it, it's like, all right, I'm gonna smoke a cigarette and then we're gonna shoot the shit for about 42 minutes.
Also, everybody, like, as far as like the producers' expectations on mine, like, everybody did great. I thought everybody came out at their time. Everybody kept good track of their time. Nobody did 45 fucking minutes on their own. Like, even Drew, as soon as he got there, he said something about, nerves or something. And I was like, just have fun. It's me, like, you can't get fired. I'm going to book you again. I don't care. And he was like, well, of course I'm nervous. He goes, you booked me for 25 minutes at a fucking wrestling arena. And then he went out there. When he came off, he was like, how long was that? And I was like, I don't know. And he was like, it felt great. And he was like stressing about how long he had to do. And then he got totally lost in it up there. And I think he ran long even, which I don't care. But I mean, I think that the crowd was game. And then I do want to say too, we had a wrestling match after, which Dan, the owner of NetPro, had asked me, like, do we want to he had actually suggested before, and I was like, we can't follow that.
Right.
I said, let's do it at the end. And I said, I don't know jack shit about wrestling, especially local wrestling. So here's how much I'll pay everybody. You get me one ref and two wrestlers. You pick it. And I thought he did a great job.
Oh, for sure.
They were great.
For sure.
And they were so cool, and they were hanging out after, and several of them have posted about the show and stuff. Yeah. It was cool.
It's like the indie scene in general for wrestling is incredibly supportive.
Yeah.
Like UCW in Asheville, I would chop a fucking pinky off they do like rap and wrestling, comedy and wrestling, and that kind of thing. And it's always awesome. And it's like usually in the High Wire Brewery and that kind of thing. It's a cool venue. Yeah. So fun. And I would love to get into that. Yeah. And then like every wrestler will share every match and stuff like that. Like it's a very supportive community. It's really cool.
It is cool. And I was very glad with how several of the crowd members that came out it was their first live comedy show ever, because I did ask. So a lot of them are just wrestling fans who were like, well, we love NetPro and we love Dan, so we're going to go and support whatever is there. That's really special too, because kind of like you talked about earlier, like where with Don't Tell, I know what it has taken to build that following. Like the Greer's coming to 15 shows. That's not lost on me. So the fact that Dan has people who will not only come to his events there, they'll come to events they don't know jack shit about.
Right.
They don't know what they're getting into.
And still behave themselves.
And be great.
That was one of the things I was kind of like, shit.
Worried.
Yeah. I was like, are we going to have 300 hecklers?
Wrestling fans. Yeah. And
I almost expected you might. So back in the early double alts, a wrestler by the name of Hulk Hogan.
Correct.
All right.
I'm familiar.
Turned into a bad guy.
Yes, Hollywood Hogan.
Yeah.
I'm familiar.
And I was like, if this joke doesn't hit, that amount of trash could get thrown in the ring.
Right.
I was like, oh God.
Right.
Like if I bomb, it's Hollywood Hogan, taking out Macho Man.
Yeah.
Again,
and you'll have to start using Just for Men on your beard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, like I did not. I was truly worried about the crowd.
Yeah. Well, so was I. Yeah. There was a lot of moving pieces.
Turned out so awesome.
It was great. It was great. Again, you know, like just to kind of recycle, like everyone seemed to have a great time. I wasn't super aware the entire night, but everybody had a great time, and the venue was pleased. And I guess I can kind of tease this here. We don't have a date yet, but we're for sure working with NetPro again in the future.
Oh, for sure.
The question is going to be location, because sometime in the near future they're possibly relocating. So we're kind of waiting on that to set an actual date. But if you're listening to this and you're like, man, that sounds fucking cool, we'll do it again in some form or fashion. And maybe bigger, like, to be honest.
Just if you're listening to this, check out NetPro Studios in general, because they put on some great matches. I've been to several of them.
Yeah,
and,
they do.
It is super fun. Yeah. They have some really great talent.
And also, Dan's going to come on soon to promote NetPro and promote the show. So if you're interested at all, there'll be an episode sometime in the shortly near future with a lot more info there. I do think, like, another thing that crossed my mind in terms of the actual wrestling was, like, being so ignorant as I am to indie wrestling and stuff. It was like, what level is this going to be, you know, as far as athleticism versus entertainment and blah, blah, blah. You hear, you know, it's fake, it's still real to me, damn it. Like, all this stuff.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. Like, it was entertaining. You know, even my mom, who, like, as a kid would be like, you're not watching that garbage with your uncle. You know, my uncle would just get high and put on WWE, and she'd be like, stop watching the divas take each other's bras off or whatever. And I'm like, Mom, please. But please, God, I've never seen it.
Yeah.
But so
Sable's boobies.
She hated it growing up. And I think even she kind of enjoyed the match because it's entertainment.
Yeah.
And those guys did a great job. Overall, I thought it was really fun. But I do think some of the bigger things you and I have talked about, as far as like negative versus positive influence on your career, mentorship, leadership, you know, hustling, all these things, even like people in our lives, like your mom or our significant others, all these things, like it's all kind of a broader thing right now for me that I'm experiencing in life, where it's like, I don't think of that show as like that show, you know, like it's a bigger thing.
Yeah. I'm like I was telling you before, you know, this was a childhood dream.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
To get in that ring,
which matters a ton to me.
Yeah, to do this, especially being with Hunter, who was a wrestler, you know, and
he went hard
to take that clothesline and get hit with that kendo stick and all that stuff. I mean, dude, it was everything I wanted.
I don't think he would mind. Hunter and I went to Waffle House after with Hailey and Hailey's friend. Yeah, and he walked in and was like, like immediately. I mean, it wasn't 30 minutes after he was done playing around the ring. We're sitting at Waffle House in those fucking wooden ass booths, and when we stood up, he was like, "Oh, like, I think it took its toll on everybody."
I messaged him Sunday morning, and I was like, "I cherish you, and I hurt." And he you know. It's Hunter, you know, and he was just like, "I'm glad I didn't take any bumps."
Yeah,
you know? I was like,
That's good.
I wanted, like, I mean, I'm 47, and I completely understand why wrestlers retire at, you know, God knows, whatever. Like, but to see 70-year-olds that are still wrestling and stuff, you know, the dudes that were big in the 80s.
Ricky Morton's still around.
Exactly. And just,
his son, Carrie, and him teach there, I believe, at NetPro. I graduated high school just above Carrie. I think he's a year or two below me, but I'm familiar with them. And Ricky's got to be in his 70s by now or something. Yeah,
and like it's nuts, dude.
Rock and Roll Express, right?
Yeah,
hell yeah, dude.
So I can see why they do it. I know I'll have to be shitting in a bag and get wheeled on stage. Yeah, you know,
I'll push your chair.
Yeah,
I'll push you out.
And I mean. So hopefully by then the Fiona thing will be over, and you know now I can be the guy in the wheelchair.
You're the chair. Yeah. You're why they have the ramp. Yeah. I do think like when I think about specifically yours and my relationship and stand up too, you know, it's interesting. Like kind of earlier in the episode when I was talking about how producing may be a huge contribution to the thing. Like I do think that when you and I met, I don't think either of us would have been like one day. He's gonna be the reason I do a show in a fucking wrestling ring. You know, like no, it's a weird thing, but that's also not lost on me, and not just you, like Hunter, Travis, even Drew Morgan, who I've had I guess, limited interactions with. I mean, I've worked with him probably a dozen times, but usually it's me paying him to come and do a show or me opening for him or whatever. But just like he was very grateful and appreciative and was like, this fucking rules. Like, you know, like that to see him go from those nerves of like, you booked me for 25 minutes in a wrestling ring to this show's awesome. Like that means a ton to me. It's also, it's not fulfilling in the same way that like me having a good set in another town is. But I've learned to take what I can get, you know?
Well, I mean, you have to. I mean, like, I really enjoyed our little road trips going to open mics a couple of years ago, you know?
Yeah, I was just talking to Ryan about Mario's mic.
Yeah.
Oh, fun fact. I don't know if I've told you this. That room, so for the listener, Pruett and I used to drive when I was...
Not even a year.
Not even a year, I don't think. Yeah, 6 months, 8 months into comedy, which I also kind of suffered from a Chris Tester level of... I also got a lot more opportunity early than I should have, let's say. And I think it worked out for me. I pushed through and made the most of it. Not everybody does, but I managed to make the most of it. Anyways, Pruett and I would drive over to Asheville and do these open mics in a building that is right there on the interstate. And I can't remember. Do you remember the name of that place? It was like Mountain something.
So basically, it was like a place where you could get
like hiking
and
gear?
hiking stuff and that kind of thing, but you're basically getting it for free. It was all... Like I don't understand.
It's very
their
Asheville.
business. I did not understand their business model.
I didn't either.
And
but it was cool.
It was really cool.
Yeah. And we met a lot of nice comics there, and our friend Mario used to run it. Anyway, so when Pruett and I would drive over and do that mic, it was in this building that was formerly a pharmacy. Mm-hmm. Fun fact, that pharmacy used to belong to Hailey's grandfather, who ran that thing, and now she's in pharmacy school. So I don't know, was I dating Hailey then? Probably not. No. Probably not. But I think there was some overlap there. And yeah, when she found that out, she was like, that's Grand's pharmacy that you worked at. Like, what are the odds that you, or drugstore, you know, that you worked there? Pruett, I do want to say everything we've talked about is kind of hilarious, and I can't think of an exact way to do it, but literally we've been talking about doing things any which way you can this entire time, and I've tried to find a way into it. The last episode Pruett was on, we did a soundtrack album cover that I happen to own for Every Which Way But Loose, which is an obscure 70s Clint Eastwood
and Orangutan, man.
Yeah, so this is the sequel. I don't know what the fuck we're going to do the next time you come on. We'll have to pull out.
I don't know.
I've got some options.
Well, I mean, shit.
You got any requests?
If you give me about 2 more years, we'll just go Unforgiven after that.
You know what's funny? I own it on vinyl. I bought it recently. I got to show it to you. It's fucking sick too.
But no, this is
the William Money
Killings was really funny. To go from Any Which Way But Loose, but Any Which Way You Can.
Yeah,
and to have like all these reservations about I don't want to be internet famous or whatever. Like, dude, just do what you want, do what you can, and
any which way you can.
Yeah, and find your happiness, dude. I mean, like, I'm perfectly happy being a quote unquote local comic. I want to go to other places and stuff, and I put those feelers out there. I send those emails.
Yeah,
but
as you should.
But nobody, you know. I don't need a Netflix special. I'm perfectly happy with my life, and you know, my kids are good people.
That's a big one.
You know, and I've got an incredible wife and a fucking sick ass, Mochaccino family.
Yeah. That's true. That's very true. Yeah, and I'm glad too, because I remember, you know, obviously again when I met you, to think of like your life changes from then to now are probably more dramatic than mine, and that's saying something because mine are pretty dramatic too. But I don't know, you know, it's just like literally any which way you can. Like we're just making it through. Yeah.
Well, you got to find your joy. You know.
Yes.
In whatever that is.
Right. So so even though this conversation is a lot of like inside baseball on stand up or
on
producing
one particular show,
on one show, which is fine. I knew it would be top of mind, you know, because we just did it. I do think that if there's anything that you love in life, though, you can kind of relate to this notion that like for 90 minutes you could sit and just gush about the thing.
Yeah.
And hopefully you can also relate to this idea that you can do that thing without it costing you something.
Well, like I don't think I could do comedy at your age. Like if I was 26 again,
yeah.
I was such a different person, and
it wouldn't be the same.
It wouldn't, and I don't have the life experience that I do now.
Yeah,
and that's mainly what I talk about is my, I got to here.
Yeah,
and what makes me.
Which is what people love about you, too. And I think I very much, I know that about you and several others. Like, I think that my set, sometimes my biggest, like, personal critique of my set is there's nothing super evergreen in the way that I don't have, like, a complex or, like, a niche take on something that'll outlast humanity.
Yeah.
I worry about that stuff, But my stuff is mostly about my life experience, just like yours is, and in a way that's evergreen in its own because it's your story. Yeah, and it's never going to change.
I think stealing testosterone and CPAP sex is gonna stay with me until
So the episode title will be "Any Which Way But Loose," but God, I wish it could be stealing testosterone and CPAP sex.
Yeah,
that's your autobiography.
That's what I'll name my podcast.
Your autobiography. Hell yeah. Pruett, is there anything you want to plug? Anything coming up at all? Please share.
This is crazy. I'm actually booking into April right now, which is that's great. Friday I will be at I'll be in South Boston with Joe Bridges, and it's a LA Preston show. Looking forward to that. The 13th, I will be with you and Mr. Ryan Cox, Brandy Augustus, and Cloud Hudson at the Wallace Theater.
What a lineup. I'm just doing like 4. I'm just doing a little guest spot. I just kind of stiff-armed Ryan. I'm like, hey, I'm going to be in town. Please, God, throw me a bone here. I'll be there briefly, but I'm just kind of opening the show for you guys.
And let's see. Then I've got and then I will be at Swara Brewery in Knoxville on the 21st. So
who's that for?
That's for Gibson Carney.
Okay. Oh, right.
And it is me and Jordan B.
Big Belly Laughs or Big Bear Belly Laughs?
Bear Belly Laughs, yeah. And so you should check them out on all of the platforms, Bear Belly Laughs. And you should also check out Jordan Bishop because he's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, we love Jordan.
And so I have to say this before we head out. He calls me the N-word all the time.
Which I feel as though you're allowed to be proud of. That's my stance on this.
Oh, yeah.
You maybe can't say it, but you can be proud that he does. I can't say it,
but I can be called it. I'm like, he did it again.
You deserve it. Thanks, Pruett. Thanks for coming. Thank you guys for listening. Buddy. Make sure to follow Pruett as well. Pruett Comedy, Pruett
Comedy.
Yeah,
man.
All right, cool. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.